Welcome to Today Finance at Sketching Finance. I'm James, bringing you the latest market updates and expert analysis. Let's dive in. As we ring in 2026, the financial world is standing at a critical crossroads. Most investors are celebrating record highs, but the professional smart money is looking at the cracks in the foundation. On December 31st, 2025, the markets sent a final signal. A 17% gain for the S&P 500, a massive 9.6% drop in the dollar, and a $100 billion game of musical chairs in private equity. Today, we are stripping away the hype to give you the 2026 institutional playbook. We will deconstruct the AI power crisis, the Fed's hidden fears, and the reality of Bitcoin's $100,000 floor. If you want to protect your wealth and catch the next wave of the real revenue era, stay tuned. This is the analysis that Wall Street won't tell you for free. The U.S. stock market closed 2025 in a blaze of glory, nearing all-time highs. The S&P 500's 17% annual gain has vaulted the index into its seventh-best three-year run in history. However, as an experienced financier, I must warn you. This growth is heavily concentrated. While the Magnificent Seven carried the torch, the shadow of Trump's upcoming tariffs looms large over the 2026 supply chain. Despite the euphoria, the market's breadth remains a concern. Investors are essentially betting that domestic tax cuts will offset the impact of global trade friction. In London, the FTSE 100 also hit a record close of 9,940 points. But look closer. This isn't necessarily a reflection of economic strength. It's a result of a weaker currency inflating foreign earnings. For 2026, the key question is whether corporate earnings can finally justify these historical PE multiples. The Trump tariff factor is the elephant in the room. While the stock market ignored these risks in late 2025, the reality will hit in Q1 2026. The retail and industrial sectors are the most vulnerable. The market is currently priced for perfection, assuming a Goldilocks scenario in which inflation remains low while growth remains high. But with potential 60% tariffs on China, the cost of goods sold is a ticking time bomb for S&P 500 profit margins. On a brighter note, we are seeing a deregulation surge. Washington is moving to ease capital requirements and rules around bank deals. This has emboldened activist investors to target lenders they consider ripe for mergers and acquisitions. If you are looking for value in 2026, the banking sector, underloved for years, might finally see its breakout moment as the regulatory shackles are removed and regional consolidation accelerates. Let's talk about the European perspective. The FTSE 100's record close is a double-edged sword. While it looks great on a 1x speed chart, the UK's investment levels remain the lowest in the G7 at just 18.6% of GDP. This creates a valuation gap. For American and European investors, the UK represents a deep value play if, and only if, the government can translate these record stock prices into actual business confidence and domestic infrastructure spending. For 2026, your strategy should move from buying the index to buying the outliers. The 17% gain of 2025 created a lot of expensive stocks. We are looking for the companies that did not participate in the rally but have strong cash flow. As the formula for forward PE shows, if earnings don't catch up to the price in the next 3 months, we should expect a healthy 10% correction to reset the market's expectations. 2025 was officially the year of the chip, with semiconductor revenue shattering records at $400 billion. AI has moved from a science experiment to a revenue engine. NVIDIA still wears the crown, but the competition is becoming fierce. Google and Amazon are now designing their own silicon, and massive licensing deals, such as the $20 billion agreement with Grok, are shifting the landscape toward AI inference rather than just training. But here is the 2026 reality check. The AI ecosystem is hitting a physical wall. We refer to this as the bottleneck era. It doesn't matter how fast your chips are if you can't plug them in. There is a global shortage of power transformers, high-end cooling systems, and specialized chemicals. The pick and shovel play of 2024 was chips. The pick and shovel play of 2026 is the physical infrastructure that keeps the lights on. Let's go deeper into the energy crisis. An AI search consumes 10 times more power than a standard Google search. This is driving a massive revaluation of the utilities sector. Companies like Constellation Energy and Vistra are no longer boring stocks. They are the backbone of power in the digital age. The nuclear renaissance is real as big tech companies scramble to buy carbon-free, 24/7 baseload power to meet their climate goals and operational needs. Efficiency is the new alpha. As shown in the PUE formula, data centers that can do more with less power will dominate. High electricity prices are eating into the profit margins of AI software companies. If a data center's OpEx increases by 20% due to power costs, that cost must be passed down to the user. This is why we are watching smart infrastructure companies, those that optimize power delivery, as the top tactical picks for 2026. SoftBank's $4 billion acquisition of Digital Bridge is a defining moment. By buying a firm that specializes in data centers, SoftBank is moving down the stack. They aren't just betting on the AI apps, they are betting on the land, the buildings, and the fiber optics. This deal sets a new valuation floor for infrastructure. In 2026, owning the real estate of AI is arguably safer than owning the volatility of AI software. The software hype is cooling down, but the hardware reality is heating up. Investors should look at companies involved in grid modernization and specialized AI hardware cooling. As the Wall Street Journal noted, electricity prices will continue to rise for everyone, not just data centers. This means that companies providing energy-efficient solutions for enterprises will see massive tailwinds. Follow the electrons. They are the new currency of the AI revolution. The Federal Reserve is sending a message of hawkish hesitation. While the market wants rate cuts, the Fed minutes show officials are reluctant to ease further because inflation is proving to be sticky. This is the last mile problem. It's easy to reduce inflation from 9% to 4%, but bringing it from 3% to 2% is a brutal fight. This persistence is keeping the real interest rate high, which acts as a gravity well for speculative assets. Simultaneously, the US dollar is facing its worst year since 2017, dropping 9.6% against a basket of major currencies. This is a massive macro pivot. A weaker dollar makes US exports cheaper, boosting the earnings of multinational giants like Apple and Microsoft. However, it also imports inflation. For a European investor, a weak dollar makes American assets look on sale, but it also reduces the value of their holdings when converted back to euros. Understanding the real interest rate is vital for 2026. If the Fed keeps rates at 4.5% while inflation sits at 3%, the real rate is 1.5%. This is restrictive. It means debt is still expensive. Many investors are underestimating how long the Fed will maintain this pressure. We are moving away from the era of free money and into the era of quality capital. Only companies with strong balance sheets and zero debt dependence will thrive in this environment. The weakening dollar is partly due to the world anticipating these Fed cuts, even if the Fed is hesitating. Central banks in Europe and Asia are closely monitoring developments. If the Fed cuts too slowly, the dollar might snap back, causing a liquidity shock in emerging markets. For your 2026 portfolio, you need currency-neutral assets or companies that hedge their FX risk. The volatility in the DXY index is just beginning as trade wars and interest rate shifts collide. A 9.6% drop in the dollar is a massive tailwind for the S&P 500 earnings. Roughly 40% of the S&P 500 revenue comes from outside the US. When the dollar is weak, those euros, yen, and pounds buy more dollars, making earnings look spectacular on paper. This accounting alpha is one reason why stocks remained at record highs despite high interest rates. But beware, this is a one-time boost. In 2026, we need to see unit growth, not just currency gains. The dragon of inflation is not dead. It is just resting. With the new administration's focus on tariffs and deportations, labor costs and import prices are expected to rise. The Fed knows this. That is why they are hesitant. They don't want to cut rates and then must hike them back up 6 months later. As an investor, your safe haven should be in short-term bonds and high-quality dividend payers that can weather a higher for longer reality. There is a controversial trend shaking the world of private equity: continuation vehicles. In 2025, buyout groups sold assets to themselves at a record rate of $107 billion. Why? Because they couldn't find external buyers at the valuations they wanted. This is the financial equivalent of hitting the snooze button. It creates liquidity for old investors, but it raises serious questions about the transparency of internal valuations. This trend highlights the exit crisis in private equity. With the IPO market frozen and M&A facing regulatory hurdles, PE firms are trapped in their own investments. By selling to a new fund, they also manage it, and they continue to receive management fees. For institutional investors, this is a red flag. It suggests that the mark-to-market values on these private assets might be significantly higher than what the actual market is willing to pay. Software and healthcare are the primary targets for these continuation deals. These sectors have stable cash flows, making it easier to convince investors to roll over their capital. But as a financial expert, I look at the incentive alignment. When a manager sells an asset to themselves, are they doing it for the client or to avoid reporting a loss? In 2026, we anticipate a day of reckoning for private valuations as higher interest rates finally prompt real exits. Investors should be skeptical of paper profits. The $107 billion figure is a sign of a market that is clogged. For 2026, we prefer public equities over private equity due to the increased transparency. In the public market, you know exactly what your asset is worth every second. In the private world, you only know what the manager tells you it's worth. Watch the AUM yield formula. If fees stay high while exits stay low, the manager is the only one winning. There is a silver lining in the PE world: bank activism. As the government eases rules on bank deals and capital requirements, activist investors are seizing opportunities with lenders. They see banks as undervalued exit vehicles. We are entering a period of massive financial consolidation. If you are looking for the next M&A alpha, look at regional banks. They are the prime targets for these emboldened investors who aim to unlock value through mergers and cost-cutting measures. Consolidation in banking is a classic late-cycle move. It creates national champions that can compete on tech and scale. For the 2026 investor, the play is to follow the activist money. When a firm like Elliott Management or Starboard Value takes a stake in a bank, it's a signal that a deal is coming. The regulatory environment is the friendliest it has been in a decade for bank mergers. This is where the real continuation of value will happen. Bitcoin has entered its institutional absorption phase. After a wild ride to nearly $126,000 in October, it spent the end of 2025 hovering around the $100,000 mark. Standard Chartered even lowered its forecast from $200,000 to $100,000. This isn't a failure, it's a reality check. The market is realizing that, despite massive demand, Bitcoin is now a heavy asset that requires trillions in capital to move significantly higher. Larry Fink of BlackRock remains a long-term bull, suggesting a potential price target of $700,000 if institutional allocation continues. But there is a mismatch. We have record demand from ETFs, yet the price is staying flat. Why? Because of the OTC drain. Large institutions are buying through over-the-counter desks to avoid slippage, meaning their massive buys don't always reflect on the public exchange charts immediately. We must also consider the miner pressure. As we discussed in the energy section, electricity prices are rising. Bitcoin miners are facing higher OPEX, forcing them to sell their rewards just to stay afloat. This creates a supply ceiling. For Bitcoin to break $150,000 in 2026, it needs a catalyst beyond just ETFs. It needs a global liquidity surge, something the Fed is currently hesitant to provide. The $100,000 level is now the psychological floor. It has become the average cost basis for many new institutional players. As the dollar weakens by 9.6%, Bitcoin's appeal as digital gold grows. But remember, Bitcoin is now correlated with global liquidity. If the Fed stays hawkish and the dollar stabilizes, Bitcoin could stay in this boring zone for most of 2026. This is a time for accumulation, not for moonshot gambling. To wrap up our 2026 roadmap, the market is no longer about growth at any price. It is about real revenue and physical assets. You must watch the energy AI nexus, monitor the Fed's hesitation, and be wary of the internal games in private equity. The 17% gain of 2025 was a gift. The volatility of 2026 will be a test. Diversify into infrastructure, stay liquid in high-yield cash, and hold your digital gold with patience. Your greatest asset in 2026 is information. The formulas we shared, PUE, real rates, and AUM yield, are your tools to navigate the noise. Don't be an investor who looks in the rearview mirror. Be the one who sees the bottlenecks before they become crises. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive masterclass. Hit the subscribe button and join our community of elite investors. Let's master 2026 together.